Well, hey folks, this is Fat Guy Flies RC, and it's important to me to encourage people to get into this hobby, and one of the ways to do that is to try to show them an alternative of a very inexpensive but yet plane that has a lot of good chance of success for a new pilot, especially a pilot who's never flown anything before. Maybe you've flown on a simulator, or you've been to the field a few times, you've watched some people fly, but you've never actually been in the controls. Or you have no help at all. You have no idea what you're doing. So I highly recommend you get a plane that's full everything. When I say full house, I mean you've got elevator, you've got rudder, and you've got aileron control. You've got a plane that can almost fly itself, and that is the H-King Bixler 1.1 version 2. This thing will almost fly itself. It's $99. You get it at H-King. Very inexpensive. You can put a receiver, all you need is a 4-channel receiver in this. You don't have to have stabilization. You don't have to have all that high-tech stuff that's very intimidating to new pilots. You just plug it in, watch my build, plug it in, and take it to the field and fly it. All right, you're going to make sure everything's trim. In other words, everything is bench trim. I've already made in this plane, so I know it flies great. And you just make sure everything is even. All the control surfaces are even, okay? You already read about CG, and you know what CG is. And you've got yourself an inexpensive battery. This is a 2200 3S shorty. This is about a $10 $10 to $12 battery, okay? Now your transmitter, that's a different cost. That's expensive. That's a one-time expense. And get one, the most expensive one that you can afford, that you can grow with. I'm a big Spectrum guy. A lot of people like Radio Master and other brands, but I like Spectrum, but that's just me. All right, make sure your transmitter's on. Put your battery in there. Should have already checked the CG at home. Put your battery in there. Okay, you know it's armed now. Okay, I've got movement. Make sure, like I've shown you, have a throttle cut to where the throttle does not come on. Okay. Let's go ahead and check the CG on the plane before we take it on the field. Make sure sometimes you didn't charge your battery right, sometimes it's whatever, you didn't put it in there right. Okay, I want this to be level to maybe favoring nose heavy, and that's pretty good right there. All right, CG is 71 millimeters back from the leading edge of the wing, which puts it right on the line for the aileron wire. Put it right there, and I know she's fine. Now, we know we got communication. Before we take her out, put the plane in front of you, or it's facing away from you. Okay, and let's check our control surfaces. I want to make sure that my elevator goes up, and it does. Proper movement. Rudder, right rudder, correct. Ailerons, they're going the right way. Okay, we know that, so we're good. Got our timer set, throttle cuts on, we're ready to go fly. Okay, first time flying. Oh yeah, you would have checked your battery to make sure it was 100%, and it is, or 99%. Okay, recipe for success for flying anything, especially a glider or any new plane, is to take off into the wind and land into the wind, because you have more control. When you're going with the wind, you have less control. When you're going flying into the wind, you have more control. So all we want to do right now is get this plane up what I call 3 mistakes high, okay? And basically figure a mistake 20 feet. So I want to be 60 feet up in the air, 20, 40, 60, okay? Think of it that way. Now, here's what I want you to do. Gabriel, if you'll pan out, and I want to show, just kind of slowly show the entire field. All right, you see those power lines out there? Think of those power lines as the edge of your field, as the bottom level of your imaginary coffee table. Y'all may have heard me talk about your imaginary coffee table before. Okay, back to me. All right, now that's your bottom level. Say that's your 20, 30 feet up, okay? That's your bottom level. That's the lowest you want to fly this plane as a beginner. And then I want you to be another 20 feet up for the second level, and then another 20 feet up. So we're going to be about 60, 70 feet up in the air, maybe a little more than that. And we're going to just fly this pattern right off the bat. Big imaginary triangle, okay, within the confines of where you're flying. Just get yourself a nice big imaginary triangle, and you want to fly the corners. You don't want to just fly to the corners. Do that a few times, okay? Flying a plane, pretty simple. When I pull up in the elevator, the nose is going to go up. When I push down on the elevator, the nose is going to go down, okay? When I do right aileron, see how that control surface kicks up? That's going to push that wing down. Left aileron, you guessed it, going to push that wing down, okay? Rudder, it's going to pull the plane this way, it's going to yaw the plane that way. But here's the caveat to rudder. When you do that, it's going to dip this wing, okay, a little bit. So you have to remember that. When you do rudders, it's going to dip away from the rudder. It's going to go down that way, okay? I think. Anyways. All right, prop on, okay? You're always going to drop a little bit when you hit rudder, so you got to be ready for that. But this plane gives you plenty of time to think. You just want to get this plane up, about half throttle, and then hold it right underneath that wing spar in the middle of the plane, and then give a nice chunk right into the air, right into the wind, okay? All right, now I'm going forward, a little bit more than half throttle. It's windy, it's a very light plane. I'm gonna go ahead to my first corner, about as high up as I wanna get. I'm going to start aileron turn towards that corner of the field. Aileron turn again. That's just using my ailerons. Starting to climb a little bit, it's a little down elevator trim. We'll talk about that in a minute. Go to this corner here. Turn this way. All right. That wind is turning that plane on its own, okay? I just want to fly like this for just a little bit. Get used to how the plane reacts. You know, keep enough throttle for a forward momentum. And right now you're just concentrating on keeping your wings level.
Time remaining 7 minutes.
Keeping the nose up a little bit and keeping the plane nice and trim. Remember, if you start getting too far away, there's a real simple rule about how far away you are if you're too far away. If you can't tell what the plane is doing, you're too far away, okay? If you can clearly see what that plane is doing, then you're okay. You don't have to worry about the range on these modern day radios, unless you just, take off and lose it, then yeah, it's gonna get out of range eventually. All right, I'm just gonna fly around my pattern here, okay? Half throttle, maybe 3/4 throttle, just enough, because I'm into the wind, just enough to keep that plane going. I'm not trying to do anything crazy, not ready for loops or rolls or anything yet. I just want to control the plane. I'm getting used to building muscle memory with my thumbs and fingers on this stick. I'm trying to develop what I call the feel. Or in other words, I can feel, and that's the goal of every new pilot, is develop that feel. How does that plane feel in the air? How does it feel through your transmitter? Okay? All right, I think I'm pretty good about flying at that level. A little bit of down elevator pressure. Okay? Let's lower the plane a little bit. I'll fly a little bit lower now. I push a little bit of down elevator. All right, now I'm going to start doing those same aileron turns. Okay? Just trying to keep the plane level. Okay? All right. Now I'm not going to worry so much about precise turns in the corner. I'm just going to kind of float around here. Enjoy the fly a little bit.
Time remaining 6 minutes.
All right. Now, here I'm going to show you what I'm going to do. We'll talk about this for just a minute. What I just did was I did a little right rudder, and you saw how that wing dropped. Okay. Now watch this. I'm not going to do anything else. I'm just going to go right rudder. Right rudder. Okay, see how the wing starts, your right rudder starts dipping down? So you can use rudder mainly to help you line up with your runway, okay? But you gotta be cognizant that it's gonna make you drop a wing. Whatever way the rudder's turning, the plane's gonna drop that direction. Okay, now I'm gonna go right rudder this way. And see the plane starts to drop. Oh, what do I do, what do I do? All right, real simple. Don't panic. Small corrections. Get your fingers off the controls. We're gonna do it, and we're gonna do that again. Okay? All right.
Time remaining
What
5
do I do?
minutes.
All right. All right, all I'm going to do, give it some power and a little bit of up elevator. But I'm not going to try to do anything with the rudder or the aileron, okay? Do that again. All right, she's starting to fall, power, and a little bit of gentle elevator to get up out of that. All right, she's starting. All right, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? Power and a little bit of elevator. Okay? Now, get up high. Now get back up here again. Start flying your pattern again. Shake this off, okay? Think about what you're doing. Don't get in a big hurry. You are trying to literally become one with the plane. I know that sounds cliche, but that's really what you're doing. That plane needs to be an extension of your hands and your fingers. And you need to be able to feel it. And the only way to do that is time, experience, and repetition. Get her up here like this, glide around, a little bit of power, just enough to keep her going forward, and get used to how she flies, okay? And the next thing you know, you can fly around like this. You can do crazy things like that. But after you've developed the feel, after you've developed how that plane feels in the air, how it reacts to your input. Remember, small input, I'm going to do something right now to explain that. This is just barely,
Time remaining 4 minutes.
I'm barely moving the ailerons. Okay, see the wings rock? I'm just barely moving. But what happens when I distinctly move them? Okay, so small corrections when you're learning how to fly. Small corrections. Small movements with your fingers is all you need. But the only way you develop that is by doing this right here. Flying her around in a nice little pattern, okay? And then start, as you get comfortable and you get confident with the plane, start kicking up your speed a little bit, okay? Not a whole lot. Just fly your coffee table, your imaginary coffee table, okay? Pick up your speed a little bit. Get used to doing that. All right, now you're confident, you know how to take off. Let's take off one more time. Now I'm going to land it, but we're not going to talk about landing. We'll talk about landing in just a second. We're going to do another launch, and then we'll start talking about landing your plane. Hold on, a little too far away, a little too hot.
Time remaining 3 minutes.
All right, props, my throttle cut is on. Get in the habit of approaching a plane from the rear, okay? Most planes have your EDFs and you have your prop up front, which is a tractor. This is a pusher, but you're going to get away from that prop, okay? Pick up your plane. You're away from that prop, okay? And again, take off as a beginner pilot, take off to the wind, land into the wind if at all possible, okay? About half throttle, a good level chunk. Then get on your elevator and gently rise. Get up to altitude where you're comfortable. Okay, now, let's talk about landing. Let's talk about landing. All right, turning towards my runway. This is where I'm going to use my rudder a little bit to line up with my runway the best I can. Okay. Throwing my approach, I'm out of the throttle. I'm keeping the nose down just a little bit. And then a slight bit of flare with the elevator at the end. Okay, and that's all you're doing. You're bringing that, you've already learned how to keep your wings level with the ailerons. okay, when you're flying around your pattern. So it's the same with approach. It's just you're reducing your throttle, you're keeping your wings level, you allow the rudder to correct, to line up with your runway. Just remember you'll drop a wing a little bit, so small corrections, okay? And you're just lining up with that runway and letting her eyes and nose in. You're gonna have a little bit of nose down attitude and then get level with the runway. And then right before she touches, just a touch of elevator to bring the nose up and she'll sit down for you. Now, something I didn't cover earlier, I want to cover now, okay? I kind of touched on it in the maiden. To help you build confidence in launching the plane, this is where a lot of people have a hard time launching. They're scared of it, okay? They're scared of what's in their hand, okay? Go ahead, take the plane and have your finger on the elevator over here. Just a little touch of up, just a touch of up elevator to where it goes up. And then just throw the plane. No power, don't get any power, okay? Just give yourself a little bit of up elevator and then just chunk the plane. See? And all I did was, I had my other finger over here. I had my other finger, because I launched with this plane, this hand, and I just fed in just a touch of up elevator to keep that nose up. And that way, you do that a few times, and that'll help you get over that fear of launching this thing. Because think about it. What if you lost your battery? You'd have to land with no power anyways. Because no matter what, that plane's coming out of the sky. Takeoff is optional. Landing is mandatory. There's no way around it. You're going to land one way or the other. So you might as well landing is the one skill that you should practice the most, because you're going to land every time no matter what. All right, I'm going to do that again. I'm keeping my other finger, ever small amount of elevator. And I'm just going to chunk it forward. See? All I did is just give enough elevator to keep that nose up to where I don't damage my plane. But that helps me get the feel of how that plane is. All right. Back to behind the plane. Let's do some power on landings now. Okay, throttle's on. All right, same thing, but this time I'm going to go with a little bit of power, and I'm going to chunk a little bit more up, just a touch up, because I have my hand on the throttle this time. Now I'm on my elevator now, on my ailerons, and taking off. I already know how this plane reacts, okay? Now, let's cover something that if you absolutely do not want to hand launch. You are dead set on the plane taking off without you touching it, well, you know, on its belly. Well, this plane has more than enough power, a little bit of flare there, a little too much flare. Okay, all right. Now, look at what we got here. Plane's lined up, ailerons are working. All right, I'm going to take off just like this. If I don't want to hand launch it, the plane has more than enough power to do this. See? I mean, if you're dead set on taking off that way, this plane has more than enough power to do that. Remember, the power in the plane is and speed and all that is what saves you. Altitude is your friend. Power is what gets you out of trouble. All right, lander on the grass this time. Maybe. I don't have enough to go around. The plane will float and float and float.
Time remaining 2 minutes.
This is why I say it's a great beginner plane. Great choice for your first airplane. Very forgiving. It almost will fly itself. Okay. All right, I'm in the grass. There we go. And then when you get up high, do this. Have some fun with it. Things like this, taking her up, when you're up high and you're confident with her, get her up high, turn the motor off. Okay? Just glide her. Control her, no power. And if you start getting unstable to one side or the other, drop your nose a little bit. That'll give you some speed, and that'll give you a little more control. You stall because you don't have enough wind, enough air going over the wing. And this plane is so light, it does not take much to keep it in the air. And then when you get really confident with the plane, you can take her and fly her around low. Do some touch and goes. Like that. Fly inverted. Plane will not snap roll because of that polyhedral. Oh yeah, it will.
30 seconds.
But once you get confident with the plane and learn how she reacts, how she's going to respond to your input, then you can really have some fun. Folks, I don't have safe on, I don't have self-leveling, I don't have any kind of wind gyro. Just a simple 4-channel receiver.
20 seconds.
Okay, simple plane. And there's no reason, you get a plane like this, there's no reason why a beginner can't come out here and have some fun and teach himself how to fly. A little bit of time, a little bit of patience, and the right plane. And see my shirt? It's windy. It's windy. All right, folks. Now that is my basic, very basic beginner series introduction to flying planes. And what I feel is one of your best choices, okay, is a plane like this. A belly lander that's a full 4-channel control that you can take off on the belly, take off hand launch, that's very inexpensive and non-intimidating. Now the next plane that we come out is going to be a tractor controlled plane, okay, which that means the prop will be in the front and it's going to actually have landing gear, tricycle landing gear. It's going to be the Ranger 1220. We'll bring that out in the next part of the series, and I'm going to teach you how to land and take off with a tricycle gear plane that has gear and a regular 4-channel control plane, and we'll do the same exact thing. And that plane does have self-leveling and safe, but mainly we're going to teach you how to fly it without. I want you to look as self-leveling and safe as in just in case type thing, okay? Great having it, it's a great learning tool because planes are getting expensive these days, but I want you to be able to handle that plane without having to be reliant on it. Think of safe as training wheels that you want to get away from, okay, where you don't need them. It's nice to have. Even for me, if I got a $900 jet flying around and I got safe, a bug flies in my eye, my vision gets messed up, well, hey, I can hit safe real quick, she'll self-level, and I have a few seconds to clear my vision and save my, nearly $1,000 I got flying around there. So don't, if anybody gives you complaints about it, because, I know this one doesn't have safe, but if you do get a plane with safe, and I'll be honest, at the end of the day, if all you can do is fly with safe, then do it. Whatever gets you in the hobby, do it. And if anyone complains to you about, hey, you're using safe, you're cheap, ask them to write the check to pay for your plane for you. I guarantee you they'll shut up really quick. All right, God bless y'all, folks. And this is just the first part. I'm probably going to do one series like this for every type of wing type. I'm going to do this one, then I'll do a trainer like the Ranger, then we'll do a bush plane, and then we'll go to warbirds, and then we'll work on the EDFs, and then work all the way up to 90s, and just trying to maybe like a 10 plane type series. So that's the plan anyways. We all know how great plans are. Going to take some time though, so don't be patient with me. God bless y'all. Y'all have a good, and Hobby King. Oh, and I did say, I realize now in the maiden and the unbox and build, I said that Hobby King sent this out. Yeah, they sent it out because I paid for it. I realized I didn't mean to mislead y'all. They did not give me this plane. They sent it out to me because I paid for it. I wanted to review it. And I wanted to teach. I did this because I wanted to teach. This is not a new plane. Hobby King sponsors me with some of their new release planes to review, not necessarily the older stuff. And I wanted this on my own, so I didn't talk to him. I bought it, and I'm bringing it to you because I want to help give y'all, you know, if you don't have a way of going down to a field or someone teach you how to fly, if this is the best you got, well, I'm here for you. Okay, that's what I'm doing this for, to try to teach you, get into this hobby. It's the greatest hobby that God ever created. God bless y'all. Y'all have a good, and we'll talk to you later. And Gabriel, thank you for filming. Bye-bye.